Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you guys for being here with us. That was my fault for being late tonight. We're almost always late. I was drinking a Sprite. I'll tell on myself before I started. I was recording my video for tomorrow and for Friday before we started, and I was like this close to finishing, so I just finished instead of stopping. Yes, the baby is here with us. So
that's rude. I'm a grown man, Kat.
I'm sorry. I'm all men are no. I mean not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Touche. I'll take
I almost
that.
did it. I stopped.
No.
Everybody here has been on before, so if you guys have not seen him, my reseller Genie was actually supposed to come on when I ended myself up in the hospital for emergency surgery a few weeks ago. So I was glad to be able to get them on because we did miss that week, and they've been on with us before as well. So Paul and Faith, and we're actually going to do a demo for you guys kind of halfway through and let them show you the software this time. So that's going to be exciting. We'll do that at about 9 o'clock. And then Miss Elena is my thrifting buddy. She lives here locally with me. She's Treasure Diva Thrifts. She just started a YouTube channel not long ago. So if you guys want to check her out. And then Rod and me are here with you every week. I think we are going to skip in 2 weeks when Rod and I are in Las Vegas for Boss Reseller Remix. So we'll take a week off. I'm normally like super OCD, and last time when Rod and I were in Phoenix, Jocelyn, Crazy Lamp Lady, Vaughn, they took over for us, but I think I'm just gonna take a week off. So I'm gonna make Paul and Faith and the baby all big and let them introduce themselves, and then make Elena big as well. And then we will get to you guys' questions. So here is Paul and Faith.
Guys, I'm Faith. I guess I'll let you introduce, but we are married, and this is our little boy, Felix. He just turned 2 months today, so happy birthday, Felix. And yeah, I'm a reseller, and do you want to share?
Yeah, so my background's in corporate accounting, and I mean, that's how we got into my reseller Genie. She brought the reselling, I brought the accounting, and
in case you guys don't know, my Reseller Genie is an accounting software for resellers built specifically for you guys. So.
Perfect. Here's Miss Elena.
Hello, my name is Elena, and I love to go thrifting. I primarily sell on eBay, sometimes on Poshmark and Mercari, and I'm going to start selling on Didbit soon. So thank you for having me, and I enjoy being part of this show and learning everything from you guys. So exciting times.
Now you have to teach too.
And my name's Rod, and I like long walks to the flea market.
You're going to get them started on the reseller dating thing again. If you start talking like that.
No one needs that. There's many people out there who need reselling dating.
Yeah, if you make apps, I think you probably would. You might have something there. There's a lot of resellers. There really is.
Just like missing connections. I saw you standing over there with that.
At the flea market?
Yeah, at the flea market with that piece of glass in your hand. The light just hit just right. I knew you're the one for me, but then you walked away. Missing flea market connections, huh? Maybe throw it out there.
Wanted person at the antique fair last weekend. I saw you. Okay. All right. Susan has the first question and said, do you feel like the platforms such as eBay and Poshmark are slower than they usually are in a February?
Do I start?
Yeah, start with
you guys are first, and then Elena will go.
Okay. So I actually ask this question a lot to different resellers, and I hear an array of responses. For me personally, in my closet, I always notice sales ramp up in February. In January, they're pretty dead, like after Christmas, after the holiday season. And I think that people are just, they kind of spent all of their money. And then come February, people are like, okay, I think I have a little bit to spend. So that's just me personally.
For me, they've pretty much stayed the same as last year. So I haven't seen a difference. Actually, I think I've been a little bit busier this last week.
Yeah, so my sales have been really good right now. And actually, Faith said that January has been slow. For me, January is always really busy. So I think it really comes down to what you sell. because, like, for example, like I sell a lot of collectibles, a lot of video games, I do accessories. So a lot of people get like consoles and get presents for Christmas time, and then what do they need? They need video games, controllers, additional stuff to go with that. So you're pushing that stuff after Christmas. So for me, the first couple of weeks is usually pretty busy in January. It starts to slow down beginning of February usually for me, but it all depends on what you sell too. You know, if you're selling bathing suits right now, it's going to be a pretty rough time, you know, like, but I mean, if you're selling winter coats, like this should be, you should be killing it right now. So it just depends, I think, depending what you are, what you sell. I do sell everything, but right now my eBay store has been doing well, but I've been selling on other platforms too. So across the board, this last 2 weeks have been really good.
The cat wasn't enough. Now Brooke let Buddy in here.
You saw dog come in here.
And now he's under the desk.
Welcome
So
to the Nurse Flipper Zoo. You can see
I know.
every week.
First the cat was stuck in the cord. Now the dog is stuck in the cord. I actually, and I'm okay. Sorry. I
She
know
also
that
has
was
a roller coaster at her park, at her zoo, if you guys didn't know. So
yeah, that was a fun ride.
it's a fun. Listen, we're full of surprises. It's one of those shows. So
All right, buddy.
There's a
You're
kid
done.
in here. There's a cat. There's a dog. They're all leaving
Come on,
soon.
buddy.
I hope. So I'm not going to give away what I did because my video I just recorded for tomorrow is actually what I did. But 2 weeks ago, our sales were only $1,000 for the whole week. And last week I got them up to 3,000. So I'll tell you what I did in my video tomorrow. So mine this past week have been good, but I had to do quite a bit to get that to happen. I would say I would bet the people that are selling only high sell-through rate items are not seeing any slowdown because the stuff that sells. But those of us with longer tail items, collectibles, we probably are. So when I wasn't doing anything, my sales were way down. They actually now are up 3% over last month. So we're in the green as far as that now. And I know everybody's saying the economy and what's going on, but I think if you have stuff that sells, it will sell. And a lot, like I had $300 sales, $150 sales. Not everyone is scared of the economy and not everyone does not have disposable income. People have it. Maybe not us or our friends. We might be being more cautious with our money, but there are people out there that are still buying, $5,000 trinket items because they want to, and they're not worried about it because they have plenty of disposable income. Again, that is not me, but they are out there. So I think a lot of what we might have to do is change what we're sourcing and what we're selling to kind of accommodate that, like stuff people need. I think people need clothes, maybe not like super nice clothes, but like jeans, work pants, shoes. People need that stuff. Change it to your needs and higher dollar wants, where those higher dollar items, those people buying that stuff are going to be less likely to be worried or be as affected by the economy. That's how I look at it anyways. Bridget. Miss Bridget, Aunt B says, how long do you wait before putting an item on sale? And do you have a certain percentage that you discount?
I'm going to pass on that one because I sell more so on Poshmark than on eBay. So I don't feel like I have anything helpful to say.
I normally wait about 60 days and I'll do 15 to 20% off, just depending on what the item is.
So for me, 30 days is my cutoff. So anything that's on my eBay store for 31 days or farther is going to discount. Now the amount of time that's in my store is going to be discounted separately. So for like 30 to 60 days may get a 10% discount, but then as the longer it's been on eBay, it's going to get 15, 20%, 25, 30 when I do run my sales. So I actually base my sales based on the amount of time it's listed.
Yeah, and I haven't really been doing a ton of sales. I did do one this last week. And for me, what I've been doing lately is just stuff I've had over a year. This time, though, I did over 6 months and I did 40% off. And then I still send out 10% offers so they get 50% off because that's the offer I send out on items that I've had over a year. So I always leave room for offers when I do my sale because I still want to send out offers. but I have only been doing sales like once a month. So I'm not doing regular sales. I just send offers out, and my percentage on offers, anything new up to 3 months, I send out 10% off. And then from 3 months all the way up to a year, I send out 30%. And then after a year, I send out 50%. So and we put in the custom SKU when something is listed. So that way I can look at it and tell. Why are you laughing? What's going on?
It's something I did in my video. I have to change something. It's
Okay.
nothing
It's
to do with
worrying.
you.
I'm like, why are you laughing at me, Rob?
Nothing to do with you.
All right. Dun, da, da, da. Miss Karen said, how often do you end and relist on Poshmark and Mercari? And do you do it at the same time when you end and relist on eBay?
That's a good question. All right, so full disclosure, I did say that I'm a reseller. I am. But the majority of my time is spent on my Reseller Genie and us creating this accounting software. So to be perfectly honest, guys, I have not been doing a good job with ending and relisting items on Posh and Mercari. Bad, I know. But so over to you, Elena.
So on eBay, I relist every day. I pretty much relist what is ending that day. I really haven't done that on Poshmark and Mercari just because I'm just not that familiar with it. But I do at least 12 listings a day where I end and relist it on eBay.
So I don't end and relist on Poshmark, or actually I take that back. I do actually end and relist on Poshmark and Mercari, as usually at after 90 days I will do that, because I actually use a cross listing software. I use Vendu, and then when I do, my items are already in there, so I end my items on eBay, and then when I go to it ends across the board on all the platforms I have, and then I relist it on all the platforms. So after 90 days I do. But when I do the two, I'm also lowering the price of those items.
Yeah, so for me, I actually, and I can't even, well, I don't remember the software I use. One Shop. I use One Shop to end and relist on Poshmark and Mercari, and I think I have it set at 3 months, and it auto does, I think, like 15 a day or something. It just like recycles them. But the caveat for that with me using List Perfectly is then every day I have to go in and relink them. Otherwise, the auto delist doesn't work. So every morning we relink on Poshmark Mercari the listings that One Shop has refreshed. And I believe I heard that List Perfectly is going to have an end and relist feature coming up here soon, which will be really nice because then I won't need the other app. But I have noticed that the ending and relisting on Mercari has helped get sales of older items. And I do eBay eBay is 3 months, and that I manually do every morning myself. But I think List Perfectly is going to come up with a way to do it on all of them, which will be absolutely beautiful. Oh, we have a super chat. Oh, and I have news. Gino, don't be jealous. Oh, and there he is, of course.
Gino, she's cheating on you. I had nothing to do with this. Just so you know, Gino.
I didn't do it. They sent it to me, but they're so pretty. All right. I got sent some new super chats. So you guys here's one. I got 3 new ones. I'm kind of cheating on Gino just a little bit, but they're so pretty. Look, I'll show you. They know I like turtles, so they sent me turtles. All right. Let's see. And I actually remembered to upload them this week. I forgot last week. Miss Wendy said, what are your favorite and least favorite items to sell, and who do you use for shipping?
My favorite by far are sneakers. And I feel like I'm a little bit out of place in this chat because I know many of you guys like sell everything. I've kind of always been clothing, but shoes specifically because the ROI is so much higher. Well, depending on the shoe that you get. So yeah, sneakers for sure. And I am using the post office still. So.
So I like to sell linens and bedding. That's my favorite thing to sell. And my least favorite thing to sell is anything breakable because it's just so stressful for me to package it. And I pretty much use USPS for most of the United States Postal Service for most of my items, and UPS.
So for me, my favorite thing to sell is anything that makes me money. And it's honestly like I like selling cards because they're small, easy to ship. I really enjoy toys because it's something I just enjoy. That's something I like to collect. I enjoy like action figures and stuff like that. But probably my favorite thing to sell is when I find a new category and new items to sell that I didn't know about, because it really expands my knowledge and opens up a whole new world for me. So that's my favorite thing. My least favorite items to sell now are heavy electronics, because with the influx of all the drop shippers from Amazon on there now, and especially if you're doing 30-day returns, you get a lot of returns at the 25 to 30-day mark from drop shippers from Amazon, that because they're buying it, you're sending it to their customer returns it 2-3 weeks later, and then they open a return back to you. So it's just been a headache over the years, and something I've actually cut out of my business pretty much, except for like DVD VCR players. That's pretty much the only thing. But I don't sell any other big electronic stereo equipment anymore or any other stuff, because I just had so many issues over the years. And for shipping, I use the Postal Service a lot. Unless it's an expensive item, then I'm going through either FedEx or UPS. If I have to deal with like insurance, getting signatures and stuff like that, I just find that those private companies do a better job getting signatures and dealing with insurance claims.
Yeah, so for me, my favorite is Native American stuff. I absolutely love Native American and Southwest stuff, and jewelry. Those are probably like my top stuff. Least favorite, I don't really have, like, I'm with Rod on the heavy electronics. I don't do a ton of that. I don't know. It's not like my least favorite because I don't like it, but like I don't know a bunch about video games and sports cards, stuff that Rod and them are doing. I just don't have the knowledge to do it. So that's why, like, it's not a favorite of mine to sell, because I don't have the knowledge. Toys too, same reason. It's hard to sell things when you don't have a ton of knowledge. Like, so I don't know what to look for. I feel like I don't see it, but I feel like a lot of times it's there, but you don't see it because you're not looking. So that might be the case.
There's a lot of things that you sell that I don't sell, like Native American items, glassware, teapots, like all this stuff, because I just don't have the knowledge for it. So that's the beauty of what we do, guys, because when you guys do have these networking like I do with Kat, so now she finds toys. She's called me up and said, "Hey, I had a big box of toys. What do I do with this?" And I reached out to her, "Hey, I have all this other stuff. What do I do with this?" So it's good to have contacts like this, know people that you can reach out to in situations like that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the more you know, the more you can sell. But I mean, and I will, like, if I come across a bunch of video games, I would look them up, and, if they would sell, I would pick them up. They're just not something, like, it doesn't overly interest me either. And I think that's the big thing, like, for me, and like the Native American stuff, like, that's what I absolutely love, which sucks being in Florida. Like, it would be more convenient if I lived in like New Mexico or Phoenix, because I would find more. But I wanted to put this up here from Wolfman's Goodies. So he said their new February policy is end and sell 10 items daily. And he's saying that has got them 70% of their sales. And I used to be an anti end and sell similar, and now I am not. I am on board with, I think it's been like over a year since I started doing it. I tried it for a month. I was like, let me stop bashing this. Let me try it. Tried it for a month, and it definitely got us sales. Same thing with, if you guys know, I used to mark my stuff up and I used to run a constant sale. I don't do that anymore. And I think it's okay to experiment with like policies and what you're doing and change it up to see if stuff works,
I mean, a big reason for this is because people search two different ways: newly list items, or what's ending within those, what's ending that day. So if you're ending selling similar, you're going to put yourself right back in that top of that search again. Plus, you're also altering, usually when people end and sell similar, they're lowering the price, something else. So it's better. It's more appealing to people.
Yeah, for sure. Jack in New York says, I have 4 pairs of same size of men's diesel jeans. Would you list them all at once or one at a time after the previous pair sold?
I think it depends on what platform, because that can be, I mean, like with Poshmark, I know specifically I have not had great success with listing identical items or similar items all at once. yeah, I'd be curious to hear what everybody else has to say.
I completely agree with what she said. If I were to list one or more items, I would do it on eBay. Maybe do two of the same pair of pants on eBay, but definitely do one pair on Poshmark, because I don't think people look for bundle packages as much as they do on eBay versus Poshmark. That's my experience.
So I sell diesel jeans. I've sold a bunch of pairs in the past. They are more higher end. They do bring good money when you do sell those jeans. It's going to be hard for you to sell 4 pairs. Like, someone's not looking to buy 4 pairs of those jeans. But I will tell you, when guys do go out and they go shopping, especially diesel jeans, they will buy 2 pairs at a time. So I would actually list them as a pair and then have the other pairs ready to go, because it's more affordable for people to go out and buy 2 pairs of jeans at one time, especially if it's something they specifically are looking for, if they're all similar. And then you reduce, instead of making 4 separate listings, you're going to make 2 listings, and then you can just not have to worry about it. So it's just going to help you save time as well.
Yeah, Rod, since I am not super familiar with them, are they like different styles though, or do these 4 pairs look exactly the same?
Well, yeah, that's the point I was saying is if they're similar or the same size, or they are same size.
Yeah.
If they're similar, they do have different brands. If you go to Buckle in the like Buckle, you can find them at Buckle a lot and stuff like that. But they do have different models of them and stuff like that. But if they're the same size, they're usually all very similar style wise. So it just depends on which ones they have. But even if they're slightly different, I still think they do okay as a pair. Just depending.
Yeah, no, I agree. But would you list both pairs?
As in, I would list one pair and then have the other one ready to go, and then list the other pair.
Okay.
If they're all identical. If they're not identical, then you can actually put 2 separate listings up. And if someone buys, say, hey, I still have another pair of jeans up there that are available. If you are interested in these as well, I can give you a deal on them or something like that. But
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'm going to defer to Rod. Laura says, if there is postage owed on Mercari, will they take it out of my earnings? And when will I know it would be less than $3?
I'm going to pass. I have not been active on Mercari for a while.
So this has happened to me on Mercari. You will know once it's delivered, you'll see that you won't make as much as you thought you were going to make. And when I started using List Perfectly, I didn't pay attention, but one of my items had gotten free shipping, and basically I made like $1 on it. So I'm like very careful now on Mercari. I triple check my shipping and whatnot with that. So I hope it's not more than $3.
yeah, I would say that's happened to me before because I was cross listing and something got messed up. That does happen every once in a while. And there's times I've accidentally put free shipping on items too. We've all been there. But I would say that they just take it out of your earnings. You get that dreaded message that you owe money, and they just deduct it from the money that you owe. Because remember, Mercari holds your money for 3 days after the item has arrived. If the buyer does not leave you feedback, if they leave you feedback, then you get that money sooner. If not, it automatically releases the money to you 3 days after.
Yeah, I think it like pops up when it's delivered, like when you owe money. It happens to me occasionally too. And that's when you'll know is when the item's delivered. And yes, they'll take it out of your earnings. It's a Mercari kind of night. Teacher Treasure Chest says, what are your strategies to getting sales on Mercari?
Oh man. See, I could give you an answer, but that would have been when I was more active on it like 2 years ago, and it's probably obsolete now at this point. So I'm going to pass again.
I want to know the answer to this question, because whenever I cross post, I just cross post to Mercari, and that is my slowest seller. I don't know. I need to get tips because it's, like I said, the slowest seller. So
yeah, I will say when I've done shoes and when I've done electronics, they've done way better on Mercari, but I think that's pretty much common knowledge at this point. Clothing, it's really hit or miss on Mercari, but electronics, video games, that sort of thing, they've done fantastic there.
Faith hit the nail on the head. So I've actually sold in the last month, I think I had maybe like 25 or 30 sales on Mercari. It's all been collectibles, video games, comic books, toys. Clothes do sell in there, but it's more the vintage style will sell better. So to get better sales on Mercari, it comes down to the type of items you're selling. Certain platforms, eBay is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. You can sell anything. eBay is the place you find anything, that loose screw that you need from a TV from 1972 to whatever, anything else that you potentially need. Where Mercari, Poshmark, these other platforms, whatnot, they're going to be very specific. Certain items will sell better, and collectibles do sell better on Mercari. They do sell better on whatnot. That's how whatnot was originally established, was the collectible market. So know what's the best thing I can tell you guys. If you guys want to cross list and sell multiple platforms, know what sells well on those platforms before you start listing on it, because I hate for you to spend all your time listing mall brand clothing on like Mercari and then realize that you spent hours doing this and that stuff barely ever sells on there. So just be careful on it. I mean, that stuff will sell, don't get me wrong, on there, but there's certain things that do sell a lot better on certain platforms.
Yeah, so for me, it's been like the ending and selling similar, like having the program do it, because like for me, if it doesn't sell in a few days on Mercari, it typically doesn't. Yep. So refreshing those listings really help. I'm looking because like it surprises me what sells on Mercari. Like, so I sold like a vintage papyrus Egyptian painting on Mercari, an Adidas sweatshirt, 2 floral Victorian frame pictures, 5x7s for $65. This is all this week. And then a 13-inch stained glass sun catcher. So my collectibles have been doing okay on Mercari. For me, it's easier to just bulk hit everything. Everything goes eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, because it takes 2 seconds to submit it with List Perfectly. But I do not put it all on Etsy, because Etsy's 20 cents a listing every 4 months. So Mercari and Posh, I'm just bulk, like everything goes on there. But Etsy, I kind of look at it a little bit more and like want like vintage stuff, and I want it like over $25 in order to be willing to pay 20 cents every 4 months for that listing. But yeah, Mercari definitely end and sell similar. You can do it. You can end and sell similar, manually. Especially if you don't have a lot of listings, that has gotten us a lot more sales. And you could do their stupid promote thing if you want, but it makes you lower the price every single time, which means you're gonna eventually get the like nothing. So I don't use that. I don't know who she's asking. Do you have info on the class you attended? You talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Did any of us talk about going to a class?
Info on the class we attended.
You mean maybe a conference? Did anybody go to a...
We talked about the Boss Reseller Mix. We talked about that, but that's coming up in... We were talking about... I'm trying to think what else. Like meetups. I don't think we were talking about any classes at all.
I don't think so either, but let us know in the chat who it was. If it was me, I don't remember. Hello, Jake. I see you in the chat. You were there a while ago. I don't know if you're still here. Yeah, let us know. Okay, Ro wants to know if anyone has sold something going to Springfield Gardens, New York. She said it was going to Dubai, and she doesn't do international, but she saw this address. Like it went to Springfield Gardens, but it was going to end up in Dubai.
Interesting. No idea.
No idea either.
So what it could be a forwarding service. There's a lot of forwarding services that actually skip the international eBay global shipping program, and you can actually purchase items. I've shipped items to Miami that go to like South America. I mean, I've sold items that go to Miami, go to South America. I've sold items that go to Seattle, that go over to Asia, the Asian countries over there. So that could be what it is. I mean, there's companies around that have been doing it for 20 plus years before eBay actually had the international shipping program. So
what's the one in Seattle? I get sales from them all the time.
It's a huge one. They're big. They actually have like 3 or 4 international like offices and stuff like that, because you guys have to remember back in the day, to ship international, you had to handle it yourself. There was no eBay global shipping program or anything like that. So these companies set up forwarding services where they had their own like website where people go. It's the eBay website, but they would place an order, would go to this forwarding company. You would ship your items to the forwarding company, and then they would ship it overseas. So that could be what it is. that's going through. I wouldn't worry about it though. Once it gets sent to that location that you have to mail it to, and then gets forwarded somewhere else, you're fine.
So I have to find you the link, D. Bernard. It's Mark II, not your dad's CPA.
Oh, okay.
She put it. Yeah. If you email me the nurseflipper@yahoo.com, I'll send you the link because I think I have a coupon for it. I don't have it up because Mark started only selling it in January. So, but I think you might still be able to get it. I can ask him if it doesn't. A class I was taking, that's why I was so tired. What are you guys talking about? Rod, what are they talking about?
Okay, you talked about a class you were class you were taking. What were you taking? Was it for not for anything for your nursing license or anything like that? You were tired because you were.
I was tired because I was in the hospital. I don't know. I haven't. The auctioneer thing was over a year ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What are they talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I'm really confused.
Yahoo nursing auctioneer. I don't know.
I haven't done I did the auctioneer school over a year ago.
Did you ever take your test for that?
No. I have till like 2099, says the state of Florida.
2099.
It never expires. I'm authorized to test whenever I want. I wasn't teaching. I mean, I am working on my presentation for Boss because that's due Friday. I've been working on that all day today. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I see a super chat from Wolfman there somewhere. But I don't have anything to add. Did anybody put what the Seattle thing is? Somebody has to know.
I can tell you what it is. Seattle eBay forwarding company.
Okay. Wolfman's Goodies sent a $10 super chat, and he said he has a YouTube question. Do you schedule your video to drop 24 hours later to give Google time to review your video to push it out to the best viewers?
That's an interesting question.
Whenever I do a video, this is probably more for like Kat and Rod, who are more official YouTube. Our videos are just for like training software. So we just push it out right away.
Yeah. So you're training, like what they're putting out, like those training videos, they're going to be slower over to start out with, but they typically do better long over time. They're more evergreen because people can go back to those same training videos, 6 months, a year, stuff like that down the line. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you there. Go ahead. Do you have anything to add to that?
Me?
Yeah.
So I've only posted a few videos, and my daughter hates me, and we do it like right away. So it's okay.
Yeah. No, I was. Yeah. So like for me, I literally dropped a video the first 10 minutes we were on this podcast. I mean, doing this show right now because I was waiting for it to render because unfortunately I have such a busy schedule sometimes and have multiple YouTube channels where I'm on crunch time putting out videos. So I don't wait. It doesn't really. Here's the thing: if you put out, the biggest thing is if you have a good thumbnail and a good title, it doesn't matter when you drop your video. You could drop. I've dropped videos accidentally. It was supposed to be at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I dropped it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they still perform. I've dropped videos, at 11 o'clock at night. I've dropped videos at 11 o'clock in the morning. There's no wrong or right time to drop it. If you put out a good video, it will perform good on it, or if the algorithm may pick it up a day or two later. Like my video I put on my Flipper channel. If you guys don't know, people that don't do YouTube, they rank your videos between a score of 1 to 10 based on your last 10 videos. Well, I didn't put out a video for 2 months. I dropped a video on there, and it was a 10 for like the first 48 hours, and then it just took off to number 2 days later. So that can happen. So I wouldn't focus so much on the time. You can look in your analytics and see the amount of time, the best time to that the most of your viewers are on that are like subscribed to your channel and stuff like that. So the YouTube will give you a best time to drop based on your viewers, like when your viewers are on. But I mean, I've switched my time over time, and I really wouldn't worry about it. So
yeah, I don't do that either because I get it done and then I drop it. I used to be pretty OCD about like the day and the same time. And I think that does help if you can do it. I just don't have the time to do it anymore. I think my last one I dropped at like 10 p.m. I try and drop them. Like, it's hard because I know a lot of the resellers drop between 7 and 8 p.m. So I'm like, do I want to drop at the same time or do I want to do it later or earlier? And like, I do have a lot of West Coast viewers. So that kind of like comes into play too. But the bottom line for me is I drop it when I'm done editing it, and I just immediately, like, whatever the next 15-minute slot is, I put it out. I've thought about doing like I know George, the Antique Nomad, lets his paid members view it for 24 hours before it goes public. I've thought about that, but that would make me have to have crap done a day early, which I don't think I'll do. And yeah, so I think if you're new, I think the same days and the same times would be beneficial because it'll help you build your viewership. But I think once you've kind of established it, people are going to watch whenever. I know Jocelyn drops stuff at like 10 and 11 at night. Crazy Lamp Lady, she does very well. But again, once you have those followers, it becomes a little less important. Look, see, Kevin says 9 a.m. for 5 years straight. See, yeah. I tried to commit to that. I was committed for about 2 years to like my set days and my set time. And then I'm like, forget this. And just went out of the way. All right, I'm going to play it.
Oh, go ahead. Do you normally drop your cat? Do you normally drop it morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime?
I go close to the typical 7 to 8 window and that's when most of my viewers are on. And I'm going to assume that's why mostly everybody, is dropping then. Mm-hmm. I might go like 6:30 and be like, oh, let me drop before everybody else does, because I know they start at 7. And then sometimes I'll go like 9 or 10. But a lot of times I do it at 10 because I just finished editing it at 10.
I used to drop all mine in the mornings, and then I used to drop. I thought lunchtime was going to be great, but then a lot of other then I was worried about other resellers dropping around the same time. But at the end of the day, like if you put out a good video, people are going to find you're going to find the video. But for me, I shifted mine to evening time because I like more of a prime time. What do people do after work? They sit at home, they turn on the TV, sit there, and if my video is dropping, like I just dropped one at like 8:10 or 8:10 today. That's
8:10. You sound like
8:10. I dropped at 8:10. I'm tired. Right? I've been up since 5 o'clock working. So
I actually got sleep last night. Yesterday, I woke up at 5 and I was like a zombie and I couldn't think. All right, I'm going to play another turtle. Sorry, Gino. I love turtles.
They're pretty great.
Why are you showing us? You've been a member. What happened? He like donated so many too. Well, John, welcome back. Thank you. I like the turtles too. Oh, see, John joined membership, so I can play my other turtle. Ha! Here you go. This is from Gino. All right. Does anyone know the answer to this? Is it normal for Honeywell thermostats to be popular? They said, Rose says they've been selling a lot the past few days.
I have no idea.
I've sold a ton of those. I pick them up at garage sales like $5 and they do really, really well, especially certain times of the year where people's thermostats go crazy. So if especially when you have a drastic temperature change, you can see those. Think of like an HVAC company. Like, when are they going to be going out to fix your air conditioning, fix your thermostat for your house, stuff like that? That's normally the time they sell. I used to sell a lot during the summer because that's where people's air conditioning goes out, everything else, that replace the thermostats. But I mean, that could be similar situation.
Yeah, I've done well with thermostats, but I haven't found a ton. When I used to buy pallets, though, we got thermostats on them a lot, and they always sold really, really fast. So I would say thermostats are probably typically a pretty good pickup. All right. Look, you can answer this, Paul. Help. Michael wants to know, how do you guys plan for taxes? Do you set, and maybe you could give suggestions on this, set money aside monthly, quarterly, and what % do you plan?
Before you answer, guys, we have my Reseller Genie here for the next, hour and 15 minutes.
He is an accountant.
Yes, ask what you guys ask us questions every week about taxes.
We always say we're not accountants, but
for love of God, we've been here for 30 minutes. We have any questions for guys? Take advantage of the people that are here right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, after your first year in business, you have like prepaid taxes that you send in every quarter. So, if you can set up a way that like every month you're setting that money aside, and so then your quarterly payments are just, in a bank account, that makes it really easy. As far as percentages go, it's tough to say without looking at someone's individual situation, but kind of the rule of thumb that I hear a lot of accountants recommend is 35%, which sounds super steep, and it is, but you got to remember, as someone who's self-employed, you're paying both sides of FICA, which is like 15% off the bat. So that's not all federal state income tax. It's that FICA that really digs into you, and then, say another 20% for just income. But that can go up and down based on how much you make.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that too, like how do I set money aside? And this is just a really quick shout out to my Reseller Genie, the software, is that we actually built in an estimated income tax rate calculator. So that, if you use the software, you can actually see, okay, what percentage from my sales should I be setting aside, or I should say revenue, should I be setting aside for tax purposes? And that's been super, super helpful, because I don't know about you guys, but I used to wait until I filed my taxes, and I would wait to see how much I owed. And I'd be like, oh crap, like I haven't been setting anything aside. I'm not prepared. This is really scary. But, if you, kind of have like a guesstimate, throughout the year, just generally how much you should be setting aside, it's extremely helpful. I would highly recommend that. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually just one more thing to put on that. So if you're trying to figure out what percentage it should be, assuming you're making about the same amount as this time last year, look at your last year's tax return and just see what the effective rate was that you were paying.
So I don't really have a good answer, because my business has really been evolving. I've actually contacted Kat's, not attorney, I'm sorry, Kat's accountant.
I can give you that too if you need it, Ellen.
And I'm actually going to see him soon, because we've been spending a lot of money on our building. So once I learn what I'm doing, I will share. But it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. So I'm going to be like at that point where I'm kind of scared, but it is what it is at this point, and you grow and you learn.
So someone posted in there that eBay takes taxes out. So
I was responding to that.
Yeah,
If you want to, you can go ahead.
Yeah, eBay takes out the sales tax. You still have to pay taxes for your income and everything for your business. So this is what they're referring to about the taxes for your business. For me, so I would say mine's a little bit different right now. For me, I had to get a new accountant. My accountant passed away. Make a long story short, I restructured my business. I got married. So we did things when I have my wife now, put her on the business to help us out for tax purposes throughout the thing. So mine's going to be a little bit different than some other people here in the chat. So I'll just keep it at that for now.
Yeah, so I typically try to do 30%, but I know a lot of people that do 50%. So you have to think too, like me, Elena, and Rod are all in Florida. We do not have state income tax. So we are very lucky on that front.
Yes.
So like me keeping 30%, like I have friends in different states that have state income tax, and they hold back 50% of their profit, not of their income, 50% of their profit. I hold back 30% of my profit. So when I take a disbursement to myself, I try to hold back 30%. We file taxes very late. We extend until July. I pay it as late as I can because I owe a lot in taxes. This year for us, like Rod's in the opposite boat of me. He's probably going to be better off than me because he got married. Well, but I got divorced. So I lost a dependent who did not work. So I have no less income and one less person on my taxes. So I'm probably going to get hit this year. And I hope not. I'm like, please let me have made less money. But I set it aside every time I take a disbursement is what I try to do when I'm behaving. So when I pay myself, I'd say, so if I pay myself, you know, $2,000, then I'm going to set aside, what is that, 600? I'm going to set aside $600, put it into my savings. And normally that is plenty enough to pay it. And then when I pay my taxes, then I'll figure out. I have just been letting it like roll over year after last year. And I'll tell you guys, last year I owed over 15,000 in taxes. And you know, that's like, but that's, you know, that's not, it's not horrible. I had over 160,000 in profit. We did 400,000 gross last year. So, for me, I don't think it was bad. And I have more payroll this year though. So maybe that'll offset the divorce. Hopefully. But I let my accountant do everything. Like I've talked to Paul and Faith, and most of you are not going to have as complicated of a business and situation as me. Because I have multiple streams of revenue. I have multiple employees. So I have payroll. I'm paying their taxes. Plus, that, listen, it's so funny because I hear people like, oh, it's tax time. I'm like, oh, it's tax time. Crap. You know, it changes as life changes. But you know, the more money you make, the more you pay. And that's just part of it. Do not try and hide your eBay income. I will tell you, I have a very good friend who is a reseller who got caught years later and had to pay back taxes with interest and had to pay for a very long time. So do not think you cannot report it, because I will tell you, I've seen what happens when you do that. So I think, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and like, I think now is a good time to kind of cut into it and let Paul and Faith show you guys my Reseller Genie. Julian is here. Hi, Julian. So I'm going to let Paul and Faith do a demo for you guys. And I'm going to tell you guys, I bet 90% of you, my Reseller Genie would be perfect. It's very, very few of you that it would not work, and it would absolutely help you get your stuff straight if you're not a hot mess like me. But I'm a hot mess, and that's hard too when I show you guys like what I'm selling. Karen, all of Rod's channels, except for his new podcast channel, are down in the description of the video. Paul, are you ready? Are you good to show them?
And guys, it's gonna be about 10 minutes long. So please don't go anywhere, because when this is over, they're gonna answer all your questions you guys have about reselling, and we'll answer all your questions about reselling. They'll answer all the questions about the taxes and any other questions that may arise. But I will tell you, this is extremely beneficial to you. I would not pass this up or move on and leave, because this could change how you do your business and put more money in your pocket. And that's why we're here every single week, is to make more money.
Yeah.
And we're going to do giveaway. Well, we are not. They are. Well, yeah. I will run it. They are going to give away free month of my Reseller Genie to a couple of you. And yeah, so, all right, I'm going to make their screen share live, and they're going to walk you through and show you how their software works. So here we go.
Yeah. Hey guys, just really quick before my husband dives in. Are we okay?
Do you want them to see you while you're talking?
Oh,
or do you want me to put the screen?
Yeah,
screen's good. Yeah, Faith's just gonna give a little.
Oh wait, you're muted.
Oh, we didn't.
I unmuted. I don't know how you got muted. Okay, you're unmuted. They couldn't hear you. Start.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to say just really quick, quick overview of what Paul's about ready to show you guys, because I don't want anybody to start to feel overwhelmed, which I don't think you will. But I want to just briefly just tell you guys what Genie does. My Reseller Genie, it's like, just think of it as a comprehensive accounting software for your reselling business. So you can track all of your inventory, all of your sales, and all of your expenses in my Reseller Genie. And then come tax season, you can get all the reports that you need with the numbers that you need to file your taxes. So it's going to make your tax filing a lot easier. But more than that, it's going to show you the health of your business throughout the year, which I would argue is even, I don't want to say more important than taxes. Filing taxes is very, very important. But, you know, we're all here. I think it was Kat who was saying, you know, we're all here to run a business. We're all here to grow our businesses. And if you don't know your numbers, then you don't know your business. And how can you make good, healthy decisions for your business if you don't? So, yeah, go ahead, babe.
Yeah. So Genie, bookkeeping software built specifically for resellers. So what I'm going to do is show you kind of two aspects of my Reseller Genie. The first one is just kind of like the maintenance that you'll keep up with if you have our ultimate plan. That has the most automation that we provide. So you can integrate your eBay account, you can integrate your Poshmark account, your Mercari account, all of your sales, fees, refunds, those get pulled in. You can also, if you track inventory, you can also sync inventory from those accounts. Mm-hmm. So you see, I've got these notifications up here. And when you click on this, I'm going to start with how to review pending inventory. So some people don't track inventory. If that's you, don't worry about this. But if you do track inventory, you can save time adding your inventory into your accounting system by just pulling it from eBay, because you're already putting the time in to list those items, right? So what we're looking at here is a duplicate checker. So what Genie does is for new inventory listings, it checks to see, are there any items that have a matching title or a matching SKU? Then it shows those to you, so to try and help prevent you from getting duplicates added to your system. Now, in this case, I'm looking at all my titles of the current item versus the new item. They're all different. So this just means that my SKUs are generalized, they're not unique. So I'm going to add these to my import, and then it shows me all the pending items that I've listed. So I can attach my purchase price, my purchase date, and then you can also do brand, location, vendor. And once you've added all that information, you just click add, and it goes straight into your inventory list in Genie. Now, next up, let's take a look at new sales. So your sales get pulled in automatically. And if you're using the cash inventory method, you don't track inventory, you just select them all, click mark reviewed. If you're using the accrual inventory method, you got to match those sales up to inventory. So I'm going to select a couple and show you how that works. So we click match to inventory. Again, Genie's going to look for items that are in your inventory, which have a matching item title. So all these items matched up, I'm going to select them and say, yeah, those matches are good. And then there's also, you can also match it by SKU. So if you have a unique SKU system, this is useful for you. So I'll select that, match it to sales. And now it just says, all right, you want to confirm all these matches. We click submit. And I'm going to go back to show you another feature in a second. But that will attach your sales to the inventory information, remove the inventory item from your current list of inventory. So your accounting is complete and your inventory balances are intact over time. Okay, so just going back here real quick, let's say the item is not matching automatically. In that case, you can click go to manual sales matching, and you can search for the item by the title or the SKU. So get my keyboard to reconnect.
And while he's doing this, I just wanted to mention that, he mentioned that we have Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay integration, but you can also track your inventory and your sales across any and all selling platforms in my Reseller Genie. We don't have integrations built yet for those, but just wanted to put that in there because it's very important to be comprehensive in your bookkeeping, and not just be tracking some or part of your numbers, but all of them. So,
yeah, so you can search for items manually if your title is a little different and you're not using SKUs. And then you can match items up that way. So that is an overview of sales and inventory matching. Expenses also get brought into Genie. Like I was saying, you can connect Poshmark, eBay, Mercari. All those fees get brought in. You can also connect bank accounts and credit cards. And any new expenses, they get brought in and presented for your review here. So these are like shipping fees and listing/platform fees from eBay. So they get automatically categorized. So you can just select all and click mark reviewed. and then those are reviewed. Last but not least, tracking refunds is a big deal, because if a sale gets refunded, the original sale is still included in your 1099K total. So you want to have both sides of the transaction. You can't just delete the sale from your records. So Genie pulls refunds as well. And again, if you're using the cash inventory method, it's a lot simpler. You just say yes, no to each one of these questions. But the purpose of this is for people who are using the accrual inventory method, because handling the accounting behind a refund is a little bit challenging if you're keeping track of inventory and trying to make sure your balances stay intact. So
Try to make this easy for you.
yeah, instead of having to think about what's going on behind the scenes, you'll just answer 2 yes/no questions and then click confirm. So that's just like the day-to-day maintenance of recording new transactions, or rather updating new transactions that Genie's pulled in for you. The second thing I want to show is a couple reports. So profit and loss statement. This is like a golden report if you're filing taxes, because it shows all of your income and all of your expenses in one place.
Can I just jump in? I know we're running out of time here, but guys, like my first tax season, it was a nightmare because I wasn't tracking anything. And so again, Paul and I, we put our brains together and we were like, okay, what are all the numbers that resellers need to track? And we have all that baked into this software. So, if you're keeping things up to date, recording everything as you should be, updating things as you should be, these reports are fantastic. And we get so many testimonials every tax season where people are like, guys, my tax season was so much less stressful because of Genie's reports. So,
yeah, so you can select the report. We have a whole bunch of time periods that you can click on automatically, so you don't have to type in a start and end date. And then it shows you all of your income and all of your expenses in one place. And Faith was mentioning earlier how you can set a estimated tax rate in Genie, and it'll show you, okay, what would you owe in taxes based on that. So that is baked in here. You can toggle it on and off, but that can be helpful. Like if you get to the end of the quarter or the end of the month and you want to set some money aside for taxes, just do kind of a quick and dirty calculation for that. Now, folks who use the accrual inventory method, I know you're probably thinking, well, wait a second, Paul, this doesn't give me my inventory balances. And you're right, which is why we have the inventory report. Profit and loss statement won't give you everything you need if you're tracking inventory using the accrual inventory method. But you can run the inventory report by year, and it calculates out your balance at the beginning of the year, purchases during the year, and your balance at the end of the year. So those are the 3 numbers the Schedule C uses to calculate your cost of goods sold. So Genie does that work for you. Now, one last report I want to just touch on briefly is the Schedule C generator. So that's kind of like a combination between the profit and loss statement and the inventory report. For a lot of resellers, your business income and expenses go on a Schedule C. So if you're comfortable with Schedule C's and kind of like categorizing things, it's a great feature that Genie offers. If you're not familiar with it and are not really comfortable with assembling your own tax statements, then I would say probably stay away from it and just use the profit and loss statement and the inventory report. But it is a feature we have in there. So that's my spiel, and thank you all for listening.
All right, I'm unmuting us and I will bring us back. Rod's still not here, but
I'm here.
he's here. I'm now though going to do you guys want to give 2 people each 1 free month, right?
yes, and also a tote. We have one of our IKEA style Genie totes, which are very, very popular.
They're
Yes,
awesome.
they are awesome. So I am now going to share my screen and show you guys. You can put hashtag my reseller Genie. Rod, what do we hit? This thing? Yes. So what I'm going to do while you guys are entering, so put in hashtag my reseller genie, and that will enter you for see, Trash Cat Rescue won the tote for me when I gave away the extra one you guys sent me.
Yeah.
So hashtag my reseller genie, and then I'll draw 3 winners from this pool. We're not going to do different hashtags. We'll pick 2 of you for free months, and then 1 of you for the free tote. And you guys can either email them or you can message them on Instagram. And what I'm going to do, though, I'm going to work backwards because, Paul, there were some questions, and we can answer the questions while you guys are entering. So Mindy sorry, Elena. Mindy wanted to know, can I use my reseller genie for 2024 or just going forward?
Yeah, you can use it for 2024. You'll be able to pull all of your platform information back to January 2024, no problem.
All right, perfect. And then VP says, I haven't filed taxes since 2020 and have been reselling since. So how would I go about amending taxes? So could she do this online, or do you think she should go to H&R Block or certified accountant?
Yeah, so I mean, with enough knowledge, yeah, you can do it on your own. Personally, if I were in your situation, I would want to see a CPA or a tax preparer. It doesn't have to be a CPA. So yeah, my preference would be to see a professional. Just make sure it gets done right. That's awesome that you're going back and amending them as opposed to just leaving them be. Good for you.
Yeah. All right. And I think this, you shouldn't have to make sure anything's checked in your settings to enter for the free month. You just put the hashtag my reseller genie like you see on the screen, and you'll be entered for that. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Kat, real quick. I did see somebody ask if the free month was only for new members or not. Are you fine with
Yeah, no, for whoever wins.
For anybody, anybody is allowed to enter for this.
Okay. Thrifted Spirit said, as far as taxes, what do they do if you miss a scheduled quarterly payment?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. If you get to the end of the year and you've underpaid your quarterly payments to a certain amount, you get charged a penalty. Some people don't care and they just say, I'll take the penalty every year. But there is a penalty that gets assessed if you're not making the quarterly payments. And that's after your first year. So like the first year is kind of a little bit of a freebie, but following that, penalties get assessed.
Pre-love bargains. And I don't know if you can the cash and accrual, you've got to decide what method you're using. So that's not necessarily a my reseller genie thing. Like I went to my accountant to decide whether I was doing cash or accrual. Paul, what would you say to that? Like the difference, and how would they figure out what they should do?
Yeah. So I want to start with like a little bit behind where I think the question is actually asking. So overall for your business, you can select cash or accrual. And I'll just kind of right off the bat say probably 99% resellers for their business overall use the cash method. But then with inventory specifically, that's one area where even if your business uses the cash method overall, some people still use the accrual method just for tracking inventory. So that's what I think you're actually talking about is like with inventory. And the big difference is when you say that you got an expense for the inventory item. So if you're cash inventory method, then as soon as you buy the inventory, you're saying that's an inventory expense. Accrual inventory method, it's once you sell the item, you say that you got an inventory expense.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that covered, I just saw, and Frank was asking too. So hopefully that answered yours too, Frank. Frank said, do I deduct all money spent on inventory if it didn't sell? That is cash method. That is cash in, cash out. So hopefully what Paul just said, hopefully answered that for you. Paul, can you tell him? And I believe my accountant told me you're only allowed to change once, right? Like if you switch from accrual to cash, like you can't go back and forth.
Yeah. So I honestly, I don't know the answer if you're only allowed to do it once. That makes sense to me. Just in general with accounting, consistency is king. They don't like you going back and forth. So as far as what would be involved with switching methods, basically you're going to have a change in your inventory balance, right? So with accrual inventory method, you have a starting inventory balance, purchases during the year, and an ending inventory balance. If you switched over to the cash inventory method, then your starting balance, I mean, you might change it to 0, and just like add extra inventory expense the prior year. So you'll have to attach a narrative explaining the change that you made and why you did it. And that's something that I personally would want to work with an accountant on doing, as opposed to just doing it myself. I mean, you can probably do it yourself, but
might be a little stressful.
Yeah. There's certain areas it helps to, have a professional doing it for you.
All right, perfect. New Life Curator says, would you recommend getting My Reseller Genie before starting selling or after they make their first sales? They have not started reselling yet.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think that it depends a little bit on what your plan is for your business. So My Reseller Genie does have a monthly cost. So if you're not, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So our monthly plans range from $9.99 to $19.99 per month. So it's affordable, but it is a cost for the business. Now, if you're planning on taking the business seriously and really working at growing it, I would say, yeah, absolutely. Start with Genie. I'd probably start on the $9.99 a month plan. It's manual entry, but initially you're not going to need, the automation, and you can always kind of like scale your way up through the plans as it makes sense for you. But I mean, if you're not really taking it seriously as a business, then I would say adding, a monthly cost at the beginning is probably not going to be worth it for you, because your sales need to cover any expenses. Otherwise, why are you making those decisions to invest in, software to help you with your business if you're not growing the business?
Yeah.
So
I will say that the biggest mistake that we see resellers make when it comes to their accounting is waiting too long to actually start tracking their numbers. And we see it all the time. I actually was that person as well. So, I'm not pointing the finger at all.
I was too.
I think a lot of us, yeah. And so I will say that whatever method you use, whatever tracking system you use, just start it as soon as possible. Or I should just say, at least just start documenting everything as soon as possible, keeping your receipts, all that, because if you wait, it's going to be such a headache to try to get caught up. And it's possible you need to get caught up if you're not, keeping track of everything, but starting sooner rather than later is definitely the way to go.
I also add too, one thing is people in the chat were saying that they wish they can afford it. It's very affordable, but at the end of the day, like putting it off, you will actually pay your accountant more money to go through all your stuff and spending more time on your taxes. It would actually save you money in the long run. Not to mention save you mistakes that you're going to make. There's going to cost more money down the line. So don't step over $100 bills to pick up pennies. This is something that you guys do need for your business.
All right, I'm going to put this question up, and then I think what I'll do, I'll draw our 3 winners, and then we'll alternate between our regular questions and Reseller Genie questions, because there's still quite a lot. So we'll bounce back and forth between the two after we draw the winners. So Karen says she set up Reseller Genie and she can't get her bank account to sync. So what should she do?
Yeah, shoot us an email to support@myresellergenie.com. We get back to every email in 24 hours or less, 7 days a week. So, I mean, there are some bank accounts which won't have an integration available, but there's over 12,000 financial institutions that we do connect with. So hopefully yours will be one of them. But if not, I can work with you on that.
All right. So I'm going to pull that one out, and then we're going to pick. So again, guys, the first 2 that we draw will be for 1 free month of My Reseller Genie. And then the third person will get the awesome My Reseller Genie tote. So I'm going to draw 3 winners now. Let's see who number 1 is. Dun, da, da, da. Carol Tarvis Bourget is number 1. And will you tell them your email or type it in the chat, or maybe Marcia can type it in the chat if to contact you if they don't have Instagram? I know everybody does not have it. All right. Second winner. Sorry.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm stopping talking.
That's awesome. No, you're fine. Our email address is just support@myresellergenie.com. I'm going to get on YouTube real quick and go ahead and just type that in the chat real quick too. But
All right.
just send us a message and you can claim your prize that way.
Perfect. All right. So Beverly, you got that second free month. And then this person will get the My Reseller Genie tote. Dun, da, da, da. Infinity Vintage and More got the tote. So congratulations to all of you. Dun, da, da, da. All right. Let's see. Pre-love bargain says, what are some important things? This was in the regular questions. What are some important things to know when looking for a CPA? This is my first year having to file. Oh, we're all mixed up. Elena, you're me.
Yeah, so I mean, my big thing for resellers is you want an accountant who is familiar with the reselling business. Like that, honestly, that matters more than are they local to me? How many years have they, been a CPA? Are they a CPA? I mean, you can get accountants who aren't CPAs and they can do a great job on your taxes. So I would say the big thing is, are they familiar with reselling businesses? And if you need a recommendation, reach out to us. We have someone who does taxes for a lot of our people, and I hear nothing but good things about them.
And also Mark too, and I think that most of everybody here knows Mark too.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. We're actually going
not
live.
your dad's CPA.
Yeah, thank you. Not your dad's CPA. We're actually going live with him this Friday, so we'll be answering all your tax questions there too.
So for me, I actually was interviewing somebody else who did not really know much about the cash method. And that's when I contacted Kat, and I'm like, I think I want to use your accountant. So it's so important, like they just said, to go with somebody that really knows the business. And I'm looking forward to meeting with him because I've got so many different things going on. So I'm happy that it's stress relief meeting with somebody that knows what they're doing and has done it before.
Yeah, I think they hit the nail on the head. The best thing is to interview them. You can talk to multiple accountants, CPAs, whatever you need to do. You just make sure you guys interview them and make sure to ask the right questions, because that's what I did with my accountants and stuff like that in the past. And it's, you want to make sure that someone's going to fit your style and what you're doing, or know your type of business you're doing. That's the biggest thing.
So I trained my accountant. He had no clue with eBay and YouTube and all of that. And now he's been doing my stuff for 4 years. So that's why now with Elena, he'll be like, oh, this is easy compared to Kat. So I went to him because somebody local recommended him. They said that he had saved him a lot in taxes. And he had dealt with people who had done like some Amazon and stuff, but then you get me with 4 and 5 platforms and YouTube and affiliates, and there was a learning curve. Me and him knocked heads for a little while. But now like we have it figured out. I pay him quite a bit because he actually signs into all of the platforms and he pulls the reports. I do nothing. He has all of my passwords. He signs into my bank, like everything. I literally do nothing, which is what I wanted. He will send me reports, like summarizing everything for the month. So I have it. I also have my payroll through his accounting firm. So everything is like all wrapped into there, which is nice. I know Mark too in his course goes over like what to ask them. I mean, like simple things, I would ask them if they're familiar with like, you know, with eBay or online reselling. That would be like one of the biggest things for me, because that was one of the hardest. And I had to train him. Like, I mean, he knows it now. If you're a reseller, he knows it in and out. I guarantee you, because I'm a pain in the butt. Paul, are there any other like questions you could recommend them that they should ask an accountant? Like when they're in this business, what would you ask?
Yeah, so I mean, I think what you were asking about as far as just like getting a sense for how familiar they are with the industry is good. And you can kind of get a sense if they have experience or they don't based on how they respond to that. I mean, some other things you could ask about depending on what your business needs are like, if you're looking for a bookkeeper, do they offer bookkeeping services? If you have employees, you know, will they help you with payroll? If you're thinking about like an S Corp election to try and save on some of that FICA, you know, try and like ask them, hey, you know, do you think this would be good for me? And on that last one, I would ask several accountants, you know, because like Rob was saying, it's okay to, you know, interview multiple accountants just to get a sense for what's out there and are they going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on how much you want them to do too, because a lot of people just use them at the end of the year. I use him monthly, so he does my bookkeeping, he pays my quarterly taxes, he files my monthly sales tax, which is zero because all of the platforms collect it. But if you don't file that zero, they'll charge you a $50 fee, let me tell you, if you have a resell certificate. So like he literally does everything for me. So yes, I pay a lot, but he does a lot. I don't have to worry about that. I have so much going on that I don't have the time. So for me, that's like super important. All right. Lala says, I need to run sales. Can I just run older items to move them, or do I have to click on what I want to put on sale?
I'm gonna pass.
For me, what works is I normally run a coupon on everything. Like I'll do like anywhere from 10 to 15% every couple of weeks. That works well for me. So, Rod?
There is a sale feature on eBay that you can put the amount of time that's been listed on eBay. So for me, I put everything that's 31 days to 60 days, make that 10%. Then I would move everything from 61 days to 90 days, make that 15%. And anything from like 90 days on, I make it like, 20% or 25%. And then you can set the time frame, how long you want to run. Anytime I do my sale, I usually run it, I would say probably like 48 to 72 hours when I do very short sale a time frame, because once those sales are over, what I then do is I don't send out any offers to items that are on sale. And then what I do is I'll send them an additional thing, say, hey, you know, if something's been on there for a while, say, hey, you recently just had here's an extra 5%, last chance to get the item. I know you put it on your watch list, so I do that, and that actually helps boost my sales better than the actual sale does. So that one last attempt, personal message saying, hey, here's an extra 5%. I know you're something you're probably on the fence about. Here's your last chance to get it with this discount. And that helps me out a lot better after the sale. But I use the sales as a marketing technique to get people to watch them and add it to their watch list so I can send them that personalized message later on.
Yeah, and you can sort it by the date, but if you're like me and do end and sell similar, that will not work. That's why I put the date I listed it in custom SKU, and I have to actually scroll through and select how many ever items I want. So I did 2,000. Luckily this time I just did the first 2,000. All were 6 months or older. So I didn't have to click 2,000 times. That's what I did the last time I did it. Marsha, thank you. Red Cardinal Treasures reminded me, if you guys did not win my Reseller Genie, I have a link you guys can use and 15% off. Marsha's going to put it in the chat for me. So if you didn't win it and you want to try it, she's going to drop the link down in the chat for you guys. But yeah, The end and sell similar is like a love-hate thing, because when it comes to sales, it definitely will jack you up there. Kathy is asking, can I send an offer to Watcher? Only, I'm going to answer this real quick. Only if it pops up in your send offers like section. They could watch it, and I don't know if anybody knows why some watchers pop up in that send offer and some don't, but you can only send it if it shows send offer to Watcher. Does anybody, Rod, do you want to take this? Describe the difference between end and sell similar versus delist and relist.
So when you
It's end and it's not sales, it's end and end and relist and end and sell similar. If you relist it is like the same number, but if you do sell similar, it's like it's a different item. That's
and when I do sell similar to, I don't just relist. I mean, I just don't relist my item. What I'm doing is I'm actually changing stuff. So I may change part of my title. Sometimes I will tell you that I double check my stuff before I do. Once I end it, before I relist it there, but I'm going to do sell similar, not the actual relist, because when I go in there, I will tell you there's times that I have fat fingers and I hit the decimal point wrong and my shipping was ridiculous, or there's something that was totally off on my listing, like in my title that I just missed, that maybe I was doing it late night or early in the morning and I just missed something that was either like spell check missed it, or I just was going real fast and missed it, stuff like that. So I change stuff though. I would even update photos sometimes or recrop my photos. I've done that so to make them, get a better zoomed up picture. I try to do anything I can to make that better, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. It's going to be quick for me. It's going to be 5-10 minutes, be quick in and out, make sure you get it done and move on.
all right. I'm going to the bottom again. Judith says she started selling in 2024, sold only items she collected and owned for 20 to 50 years. So can you tell her how to set a value? And she did sell over 5,000 in 2024. And congrats on the baby.
So I would say it kind of depends a little bit if you're a reseller or not. So you're most likely a reseller because you're watching this show. But if you're somebody who doesn't, resell for profit outside of this, there is I think guidance for how to tell the IRS, oh, these were personal items. But if you're a reseller and you have other items that you purchased and are selling for profit, then maybe you want to mix those sales together. So in that case, it's the accounting principle is the lesser of cost or market. So the value you assign to it is whichever's lower, what you paid for it or what it's worth right now. A lot of items out there are typically going to decrease in value, although some collectibles are going to go up in value. So if you don't know the cost, you can look at the market value. It's a little bit of a gray area. It's not cut and dry. What a lot of people will do is they'll just set it to whatever value zeroes out the profit for that sale. So you don't want to claim a loss on the sale, but it is okay for it to be $0.
Okay. That makes sense. Oh, let me not forget. Christine joined the membership. I told my members when we were live, but I'll tell you guys here. Since I'm going to Vegas the second week of March, we're going to have a lot of stuff next week, the first week of March, because I don't want it to be late again, because it was late for me being in the hospital this month. So this coming week, we are going to have members only live shipping. We are going to have store reviews and members sourcing. So all three things in a week again, which we just did that last week, but we're doing it again the first week of March. That way I'm not behind, because I do every other week. So that way the other week will be when I'm in Vegas. So now's a good time to join the membership, because everything's hitting again next week. And I get to play my turtle again. Thank you for joining, Christy. All right, let's see. Okay, Miss Caroline says she didn't list most of last year due to family and health issues. Now she feels like most of her inventory is low end and long tail. So if you were in that situation, would you donate it? She has tons of stuff that's not listed, but she feels like it's either lower end or going to be long tail items. What would you do?
So if you donate it, I mean, you can, well, yeah, you can write it off, but I mean, you're also missing out. Oh, sorry, words are not coming to me right now. Can you speak into that actually? Because this is kind of into more like taxes and stuff, and like how much money you want to lose in your business. Mom brain, guys. Sorry, can't word right now.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's a problem with space because it's taking up room on your shelves, then I get donating it. But if space is not really a constraint,
What do you say?
It's a hard question. I think it's a hard question whether you're.
It depend on your situation
and what the upside is, because I mean, like if it's an item that doesn't have a lot of upside, then it's like, okay, I can get a tax deduction now. Maybe I would have sold it 6 months from now or a year from now, but I'd rather just have the deduction now.
But I mean, if you spend $1,000, and I just, I feel like you gotta weigh how much you spent. If you want to just let go of all of that, even if it might not sell quickly. I'm curious what everybody else would say.
It all depends if it's stressing you out to have it there. If it's really stressing you out and you think it's low end and you don't want to list it, maybe it is good to just donate it. Just depends what it is.
First off, there's nothing wrong with a reset. Sometimes you have to take 2 steps backwards before you take a giant step forward. If those items are already listed, or if you, like, for example, I know you said you took some time off due to family and health issues. If you had like a cross-listing software like Vendu or My Reseller Genie, those things would automatically be sitting in there. So you can quick hit one button and relist all those items if they're not listed on eBay. So the biggest thing for me is if those items are currently listed, the work's already been done. So I probably wouldn't donate them right away. I would do some massive sales. If you feel like it's going to be low end stuff or stuff that's going to be long tail, I'd probably do a massive sale, 25% off, 50% off. Because right now it's a sunk cost regardless, because you've already spent the money in that inventory. So try to recoup something. If the items still aren't moving, then at that point in time, you feel like you need a hard reset. There's nothing wrong with that. If you watch my last flip and punching video, I literally said that I took like 3 truckloads to the thrift store and just donated it because I was tired of having all this inventory because I buy out massive collections and I don't cherry pick items. When I buy out, I buy the good, the bad, the ugly. So, I make, majority of my money back for 20% of the items, and the rest of the stuff is just, going to be gravy. But at the end of the time, like that adds up over time. Those low end items you don't want to list or long tail items. So it's okay to do a reset, move on. You just have to have you have to have a certain reason behind it. So if it's to free up space, give yourself a peace of mind, causing issues in where you live, then yes, absolutely move on and reset.
So for me, and I think I did this when I went through my death pile, what I would do is set a sale price you want to hit, whether it's 15, 20, 25 bucks, and go through it quickly, look it up, because you're saying you feel like it is. That doesn't mean that it is. You might have some good stuff in there. And if it's easy to list and it's 15 bucks, like if it was hankies or, a vintage linen, I would list it. But I would take out the stuff you don't want to list. I would go through maybe like set yourself up like something. And so that pre-loved bargains, garage sale or flea market is a great idea too. You could load it all up, go to the flea market for the weekend, set up, make some money, and then whatever's left, donate it. If you wanted to do that too. I'm not one to go and sit at the flea market, so I gave mine away that I didn't want. I would also look at what you could lot up, right? Like there's commons. Maybe there's flea market sellers that might want to buy it from you and you could get $1 a piece and sell it to somebody else. I would think about looking at commons too. We've been selling clothing lots on there pretty decent on Kevin's district commons, and that has gone well for us. I'm actually buying for that, so I mean, I would think about that too. And that's not live; that's static listings, which is nice. Let's see. I'm gonna just grab this real quick from Kat. Do you have to have a watcher to send offer? Not necessarily. I get send offer to watcher, and there's not a watcher. And I get offers on stuff that I look up when I'm comping stuff that I am not watching. So I know that it happens. Be careful with that, because somebody might send you an offer to buy something and you think somebody's trying to buy yours, and then you accidentally buy theirs. I've done it. Be careful with that. Are sellers allowed to sell items they don't actually have? I bought 5 items from a seller. Now they don't have them at their supplier and won't have more till 8/25. Reading reviews, I'm not the first. I'm going to tell you that's called drop shipping, and I'll let everybody chime in on what they think about that.
I have 0 experience with drop shipping.
It's a nice way to not have to carry inventory.
Yes, it's very true. Very true. If you're low on storage space.
So I haven't done it, and I have no desire to do it, because for me, it's extremely risky. Waiting on you to get the item or waiting on the post office. There's just, for me, too many variables that can go wrong, and then you're accountable for it. So haven't done it, and I don't think I will.
So I would say this is not always drop shipping. It could be someone that does have a direct supplier, and that their items, that they keep it on there because they consistently get a supply in, and that their supplier is just running late or behind. One thing I would say is be careful when you go to buy the item, because they may have put the shipping. They may have put the shipping as an extended date out, and you might have purchased it not looking at that. Because I get that all the time when I go on vacation mode or extend my shipping time on my items. Buyers buy it, things are going to be shipped right away, and didn't look at the shipping time. So they could just extend the shipping time knowing that those items are coming in. On the other side, it could be drop shipping. It could be a drop shipper. You got to be very careful with drop shippers, and that's very risky, especially for people on like Amazon that do drop shipping, because you can jeopardize your entire account from someone else shipping out your items and buying off of eBay and have it directly shipped there. So yeah, it is a risky thing. I was kicked off eBay for 2 years for drop shipping. So just to give you, I will tell you that I lost tens of thousands of dollars because I worked with a drop shipper, and they sent me pictures of all their inventory of shirts, and they were making custom shirts, and we had a great relationship. And then Christmas time came, and this is like 15 years ago. And when I would sell the items, I would ship them the label, and then they would ship it out, but they were just using a regular spreadsheet, and it wasn't updated in real time. And unfortunately, they would tell me, "Oh, we can ship this out, but it's not going to be done for 5 to 7 days." And you know what? How antsy people get around Christmas time, where they're buying presents and they need it shipped out yesterday. So it got me a ton of negative feedback. It really hindered my business and put me in a big bind. So be careful doing drop shipping.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, are they allowed? I don't know if technically on eBay, if you're allowed to drop ship. I would say probably not. But I will tell you, drop shipping is a lot of people's business model. That's what they do. And people buy from us, and I don't care if they buy from me and drop ship it. If they pay, I don't care who the heck it's going to. I had to last week. If I can't find an item and another seller has it, I will buy it and drop ship it to my buyer. I mean, that's not like, I'm not doing that on purpose, but if we can't find it in our inventory, another seller has it, before canceling an order, I will buy it from another seller, change the address, and ship it to my buyer. And a lot of times I already told him yes. A lot of times I have to, now I totally.
I'm sorry. You talk about drop shipping. God. I'm sorry. You said drop shipping, that you would buy the item and then you would tell the buyer.
No, I said that. I know.
I don't
know. I don't remember. It's okay. It probably wasn't important. We did get another new member, Tiffany's Attic. Thank you so much. And I will post the member schedule probably on Friday for you guys, so you'll know when all the events are going to be for the membership. And I get to play my turtle. It's so peaceful.
How much have you sold a lot of lots on commons so far?
I think maybe like 10 now.
Nice.
Not a ton, but we are going Friday to the dollar clothes store again, so I'll have more. The ones I have on there now are ones that I actually got at Brown's at Junk in the Trunk. I had enough to make up like 5 lots. I think two of those lots of the 5 have sold. Yeah, I have to pay. Oh, that's what I was saying. A lot of times I have to pay more than my buyer paid, but that was my mistake. I couldn't find it in my inventory. I eat it. Now, if it was like $50 more or something, I probably would be like, sorry, don't have it. But a lot of times it's like $5. You know, it's very minimal most time because I price right in line with the market. The only thing might be is if I sent them a 40% off offer and they accept it and then I can't find it, then I might have to pay a little more. But most of the time, sometimes I've actually made money on it, which is beautiful. And I don't do anything. I drop ship it. Not on purpose. Trash Cat wants to know if you guys are selling the tumblers.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But they're pretty great.
Maybe we should drop ship them.
But yeah.
I don't have mine because I left it at my friend. I got one of like the Stanley type ones from Joel, American Bubble Boy. I don't know who all got those, but like a bright orange one. That's like my drinking cup now. It's like,
That's awesome.
Thanks, Joel. All right, let's see. Let's go back to the top. Oh no, it's my Reseller Genie turn. Does my Reseller Genie integrate with PayPal and Venmo?
Kind of. So you can connect PayPal accounts. I know that for sure. I'm not sure about Venmo, but most likely because they're a pretty big institution. That being said, it all pulls into the expense detail. So it's really only for tracking expenses through those platforms. So if you have sales you're processing through there, we don't yet have like a way to transfer that data into a sale. So it's on our list, but we're not quite there yet.
Perfect. Trash Cat Rescue, what bank or establishment do you like to use for your eBay reseller funds with no LLC? So if I guess if you guys are using like a big bank, let them know, or if you use a local one.
So just to comment on this, you can just open a personal account. Like if you don't have an LLC and so you don't qualify for opening a business official account, just open a personal account and use that for your business. I know sometimes I get stuck in like, okay, what's the process that I'm supposed to do here? And so I remember when I was trying to do that and I didn't have the LLC yet, I was just like, oh, I can't open the business account. It's like, no, just open a personal account. It's fine.
A separate personal one that you only use for the business.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I use PNC.
Yeah.
So I worked on it and I have my LLC and I opened up a business account through Navy Federal Credit Union and it's been pretty good.
So for me, when I pick my bank, I want to make sure there's a bank that's going to be nationwide because I do travel a lot and I do picking across the country. So I go with Wells Fargo.
And I use a little local credit union just because that was the easiest for me to do. I know Chase. I use Chase for my business card and I absolutely love it. My business credit card. And I know they have a checking. So I might end up switching. They keep saying they have sweet incentives with Chase. So they might get me. They might get me to switch. Very possible. Sam says Chase sucks. Like, tell me why. I need to know because I really need, like, if you guys know, I went through the divorce, but I haven't like pulled him off. He's not on my LLC or my business, but I haven't pulled him off. So I think the easiest for me is going to be just to open a new account. And it's good. I say easiest. It's not going to be easy. Luckily, I use my business credit card for most everything, so it shouldn't be horrible, I hope. But it's still going to be a pain in the butt. That's why I haven't done it yet. Let's see. I was trying to see. I wanted to make sure. I think I got all my Reseller Genie questions, so we'll go to the top. Sarah wants to know if I'm feeling better. Yes. So I actually went to my checkup with the surgeons yesterday, and my stent is removing it. I did not know that was possible, even though I'm a nurse, but it is. So I don't have to have a procedure to remove my stent. It is doing it on its own. You guys can guess and figure that out. And I have started back at the gym. I'm going to the gym every day again. I'm using really light weights. And the surgeon told me normally it's 6 weeks, but I've been going to the gym 5 days a week for over a year now. So he said at 4 weeks, he told me stay on the light weights until next week, and then I can start slowly increasing. So if you guys don't know, like the majority of what I do is lifting. I don't do a ton of cardio. I do cardio to warm up and cool down, and the rest is all lifting. So he said, since I've been doing it for a year, I can start back at week 4, which is next week. But I am going every day and doing full workouts again, starting last Thursday. I started after 3 weeks. And they told me that was okay. I just have to do really low weights until the 4th week. So yes, I'm feeling better and I don't have to have another surgery. So I am happy. Patty wants to know, I've never had enough deductions to file long form. What can I do different?
So, I mean, itemizing for your personal is not necessarily like a benefit, because I mean, it means you're spending more money. Yeah, I would just say, like, if you're only taking the standard deduction, that's great, because the standard deduction is massive. So I wouldn't try to, get yourself to the point where you're spending enough money to itemize. Those are my thoughts.
Next question. Kat,
No,
what's the question?
I want to say something. I was going to say, like, for Paul, like the standard, I think a lot of people think that, and the standard deduction is a lot. Like you would have to like donate so much money take the standard deduction. Like, why do you want to file a long form? Take the standard. It's a lot, like with personal or business for me, like the standard is plenty. Like, I'm not going to try and donate and give away my money just to do that. I just wanted to say that. Okay. Patty said she heard Doge is going away with free tax filing. I have no clue what this even means.
I'm not sure what it means either. I mean, I know there's services out there that claim to be free. I haven't used them personally, but I mean, if someone's willing to give away their time, whether it's in the form of a software or actual, face-to-face time to do your taxes for free, I don't think Doge is going to get rid of that. But maybe there's something else that I'm not aware of that you're talking about.
Yeah, let us know, Patty. Gina wants to know, is my Reseller Genie only for reselling? Like if she does like doggy daycare, can she use my Reseller Genie for that or add it in with her reselling?
Yeah, good question. So yes, you can put in other income sources in Genie. It'll feel a little weird because it is built around like assuming you're selling products, but you would just record a sale and you can set up a custom platform for like dog care, and then just put a description of what it is, and it'll have like a sale date and a field for a list date, which you're not going to use. But yeah, you can track your income from other sources in Genie.
Perfect. I'm going to answer this one real quick. Is List Perfectly an expense on your taxes? Absolutely, 100%. List Perfectly, Photo Room, My Reseller Genie, any app that you're using is a tax deduction. You could even put the darn super chats in here as a tax deduction. I did when I was growing my YouTube, because that's advertising for me. So my super chats were tax deductible too. But anything that you're using, yes, is tax deductible. If you're doing accrual method, I think that's what she means. Is it better to have a high inventory or a lower one at the end of the year?
I'd say neither. I mean, the ending inventory just reflects, or it should reflect what you have in inventory. So, I mean, if like you're trying to ramp up your inventory because you want more on hand to increase your sales, then having a high inventory is great. But if you're trying to trim down your business, then, low inventory is good too.
Perfect. All right. I'm trying to get through them. Listen, I think we might make it through all the questions tonight. Sam says, has the extra hustle to expand and streamline your business made your life easier, or do you find it stressful keeping it up? He's saying like that all of us here are doing way more than the average reseller is
Great
doing.
question.
That's a good question.
Mhm.
I really like working with Faith. So
By the
Like-
way, my name is Faith, in case you know. That probably sounded really weird.
I like working with Faith. I have faith.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's a lot of work, but I find it's fun and it's nice to like have something we do together.
Yeah.
I find it really rewarding to help resellers too. So yeah, it's more stress, but it's like good stress for the most part.
It's both stressful and rewarding, and I think you have to decide: are you okay with that? And we are.
I think it's a good stress because you can see the rewards of it. If that makes sense.
So it's a great question because being a reseller has given me the freedom to do whatever I want. So I can travel, I can vacation, I have free time. Like I have a stepson here, so I can take him to school, pick him up. If my wife works as a nurse, she doesn't have a set schedule, so now I have freedom to do whatever I want. When she's off, I'm off, or vice versa. I can work at night, work during the day, so that's awesome. What makes my life stressful is being an entrepreneur because I am very hungry and for knowledge, and I'm very hungry to expand my business and keep growing. But that's a good stress. So, I started out originally just being a reseller, then a reseller with one YouTube channel. Now I have 3 YouTube channels. I'm on 2 podcasts. We opened up Dibbit threads, Dibbit cards for selling marketplaces over there with the Trash to Cash guys. We're doing that now. I'm expanding to card shows. I'm just really stretching myself thin, but at the same point in time is like, you don't realize how much free time you actually have until you start adding all these things in. And when you get more efficient, more effective. So that part makes my life stressful, but I love every single minute of it. So I love it. This is what I want to do. So.
Yeah, I love it too. Sometimes I think it's too much and I don't have I know I don't have enough time. I'm gonna say I live better at a high stress level, like my whole life. Like I just function better.
It's good stress.
Yeah, I function. Yeah, it's good stress. Like, well, most of the time. Sometimes it's not good stress, but I function better with like a higher stress level. That's just how I operate. Like, even when I was nursing, I was like selling chickens, and then I just do everything. Everybody that knew me, they're like, "What are you doing now?" Like, I always I can't just do one thing. And I don't know that it's necessarily that we're streamlining. I feel like we're expanding and like going that way, but it works together. Like I was talking to somebody, and I mean, really, like I could do YouTube without reselling, but then I'd feel like a fake, like I could do just research videos and show you what's selling. I could do that without reselling. But like I said, I'd almost feel like kind of like a fake because I wasn't doing what I was trying to teach. And like Faith was saying, like stuff changes, like they're concentrating more on that. If I'm not on these platforms and doing all this stuff, I'm not going to be able to answer your questions and help you do it if I'm not doing it. So for me, like my reselling and my YouTube goes hand in hand. And I agree with Rod, and I actually yesterday when I had my checkup with the surgeons, I went by my old job and saw everybody, and they're like, apply, and I'm like, no. They're like, just come back PRN, just come, and I'm like, no. Like I like my weekends. There's PRN. Like when you're PRN, it's like you have to do 1 weekend a month and blah 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 blah. And they're like, well, for special I'm like, no, I don't care what you tell me. I'm not. But like going like through all of the stuff I went through last year with my divorce, like being home, like Dalton's schedule didn't change. I was here. I'm the one making my money. Some of my income did go down through that, but the more that we put in, most times the more we're getting out, like whether that's making more videos or listing more items. I know, and we can take time off. Like Rod said, he didn't put out videos for 2 months. I didn't put out videos for 6 months on my thrifting channel. And now I've started, and within a month, it's back up to where it was 6 months ago. So we can stop and take that time away if we need it. The money might go down, so you kind of have to plan on that. And this is going to be negative. I hate to end the show negative. I'm glad Spirit Junkie said this. I got my bill from the hospital, and I will tell you guys, I pay $1,000 a month for my insurance for myself and the kids, and my hospital bill is $7,600. I got that yesterday. So, for all of you that ask about the insurance, I've never needed it. I'm healthy. I just go to the doctor for my checkups, but you don't plan on needing your gallbladder out. So, like, I set up monthly payment. It's a car payment. It's $315 for 2 years. So now I have good credit, Dina, and I'm not willing to mess that up. I'm going to pay it. And it sucks. So no, the lowest they will take is $315. The max they give you is 24 months to pay it off. So it does happen. So now all of a sudden I have an extra $300, but what do I need to do? I need to list more. I will figure it out. Like, I'm not worried about it, but I wanted to bring that out because that stuff, it happens, but we can just list a few more items. Like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of what you do, because now you can put out more videos, you can list more and do stuff, like, but you have the system put in place. And I think we need to give everyone a full disclaimer, because so many people see what we do here, see the Commonwealth Picker, see ADH Dave, see all these other sellers online, Bearded Thrift Machine, like running multiple businesses, Harry Tornado, like doing all this stuff. But you guys have to realize, like, we scaled this up over year after year after year.
Yeah, so, like, mine's 5 years.
Yeah. So, but also I want to say is I see a lot of people trying to go full time, or a lot of people trying to mimic what we do. And I'm all for that. You guys should go in and that's what you guys want to do. But at the same point in time is we mastered the skill of YouTube first before we opened a second channel. We mastered the skill of reselling on one platform before we expanded to a second or a third or a fourth. We mastered static selling before we went live selling. So keep that in mind for you guys out there that want to do kind of what we do or expand your business. Master those skills first before you move on to something else. Don't try to spread yourself too thin doing multiple things that you haven't mastered. That one thing first is going to make your money, and focus on the things that will make you money when you expand your business, because that's going to help you take time away to learn other skills or other stuff like editing or how to create thumbnails or stuff like that, because that stuff's not going to make you money in the very beginning. Long term, it will. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, and like just if I was nursing, I would have to pick up an extra shift to cover that though. And it very well could have been that much with my insurance at the hospital. I don't know because I don't have it anymore, but I would have had to pick up an extra shift. But here I'm not doing anything different. You know, I'll figure it out, but it happens. And like my lovely escrow was reassessed last month and my mortgage went up $300 a month too. So I'm getting hit like every direction, but I'll figure it out. And I know I'll figure it out and I'm not worried that I won't. But that stuff happens. All right. Squirrely Senate. We got 1 minute left. We're going to answer this really quick and then I'll give something and then everybody will say bye. How do you begin to do live selling in YouTube if you don't have a following, but feel you have something different to offer? You all are so comfortable and confident on air.
I'll just say one tip I have, just if you haven't, just start by watching other sellers do it first. Watching their YouTube videos, watching their whatnot shows, their live selling, and just learn. But also don't feel like you have to become a perfectionist before you start.
So I'm watching a lot of resellers do live selling, and I'm going to attempt that soon. I'm just not comfortable yet. But like she said, just watch and learn and then just start, and don't expect to be perfect because it's just a growing experience.
The biggest mistake I have ever made in my entire reselling career was not starting my YouTube channel when I wanted to start it right before the pandemic. If I would have started in the pandemic, my channel would potentially be 3 or 4 times as big as it is now. Granted, it's not, because you know why? Because I thought I could make things perfect. I didn't want to start because I had to learn to edit before I want to put a video. I had to learn to make good thumbnails before I did that. I made every excuse in the book not to start and do that. It will never be perfect. You will fall flat on your face. You will make a crappy video. You will mess up on your live. I did professional wrestling. I can't tell you. I talked on the microphone and I forgot my lines, and I stood or forgot what I was doing in front of a live audience where they're ridiculing me, throwing bottles at me. Like, I've been in that situation before, and it sucks. But at the same point in time, it's getting force fed for the fire hose, because you know what? It excelled me to move faster through the process, because it's not repetition. It's not making things perfect. Repetition makes things perfect. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. We're on here every single week. Kat's been doing this for years, every single week. She seems comfortable on here. So you guys just have to go with it. And trust me, no one's going to go watch your YouTube videos. I hate to say that your first couple of videos may get a couple, 5, 10, 15 people watch it. Who cares? Go back on my channel, watch my videos in the very beginning. I say this all the time. It looks like my cameraman has Parkinson's. He's just shaking the camera around because I have my stepson filming it, and like the lighting's horrible. I'm trying to open up a box of comic books. Like, it's horrible, but no one cares. No one's going to go back and watch that, you know? But just do it. That's the biggest piece of advice I give to you. Start now, start yesterday, because that's the only way you're going to get comfortable with doing it.
Yeah, I agree with Rod. My first video is still up. It was upright. It was not horizontal. And people that have watched me throughout the years or accidentally found like a video from 3 or 4 years ago and see me now, they're like, whoa, you grow. You just start doing it. That's how you do it. The nice thing about live selling on Dibdit or on like Knickknacks is that you're getting their following. So if you apply and get on there, you're going to have people in those live sales. And the only way to do it is to do it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. And it's so funny because like I had been doing my podcast for a while. Like this podcast has been going almost 5 years now. And you can go back. They're still there too. Go back 4 years and you'll see it definitely is different. But being on here and doing videos, like I went in and was able to talk to a whole room of people with no problem because I'm doing that right now. Like there's 320 people in here. Like, so, and I don't know that every YouTuber necessarily might be like that. Me, I'm like, I got this. I can get on stage and talk to people. I don't care. I've never done it, but like I had the confidence. I know what I'm talking about. And through time, I've gotten more and more comfortable. So the more that you do it, the more that you're going to be comfortable. You're going to be awkward at first. Everybody is. You just got to kind of find your groove. And if you feel like you have something different to offer, start it. You know, like Rod said, you're not going to get a lot of views. It's going to take time. It took months and months. You might get lucky and get a viral. That's not what typically happens. My viral came 3 years into my channel that blew my channel up. And I'd been putting out 3 to 7 videos a week. I did every day for months when I was building my channel. So it takes a lot. All right, I'm going to give you the last new one, and then I'm going to let everybody say bye. What, Rod?
Have you done co-streaming on District yet? On Knickknacks or anything like that?
No.
So that's a huge advantage for a lot of people, especially like, for example, if you want to sell clothes on Dibit Threads, go over there, send me a message, and if you're going to be your first time, I can literally co-stream with you and walk through the process with you. So that's a cool thing about you don't have that option on Whatnot and other selling platforms. You can co-stream, but you only sell from one location. We can sell from separate locations and sell our own separate inventory on there. So it makes it a lot easier. We did our first rate train over there, and we brought a lot of people that didn't really have much experience on there, and we were co-streaming with people, and it just took away a lot of the pressure because, you know, you had one person on camera, then they're doing 2-3 items, and the other person is literally getting their items together to go up and do 1-2-3 items, you know, so that's a huge thing. Yeah. So I would highly recommend people doing that.
Yeah, that's much different than Whatnot. It's definitely more helpful. All right, this is the last new one. Gino probably went to bed. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. All right. And Cheryl is who did them. I want to say thank you to Cheryl. All right. Let me make Paul and Faith big so they can tell you guys bye. And then Elena and then Rod and I will tell you as well. So here is Faith, Paul, And the baby.
Thank you guys so much. Kat and Rod, thank you guys for having us on here. We really appreciate it. And Felix says goodbye. If you can wait.
Is hiding.
A lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
All right, here's Elena.
Thanks for having me on. I am going to be releasing my video tomorrow, and I'm going to actually start showing what I sold, and I'm going to start selling on Didbit. And Rod, I may be messaging you about going live.
Awesome.
Perfect. Rod, what's going on your 10 channels?
I dropped a brand new video on my picking and punching cards, dropped tonight. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., the No Banger Sports Card Podcast with me, Kerry, American Arbitrage Cards, and Tim Over the Years. We'll drop a new episode tomorrow morning. I'll have a new episode picking and punching tomorrow evening. And then, guys, and I'll be selling live tomorrow night with Kerry on Didbit cards. But I'm being dead serious when I say this. We did launch Didbit threads for clothing sellers and Didbit cards for sports card sellers and non-sports card sellers. If you guys are seriously interested in an alternative to sell clothing and you guys want to do lives, please go to Didbit. It's Didbit Threads, DIBDIT, threads.com, and sign up on there and literally send me a message if you want to learn to do lives. We can do a practice live, and then I can be on there, help you guys do your lives as well. So Kevin Conwell Picker's over there, ADH Dave's over there, a bunch of us, Mike Death Pile Picker, we're all over there helping people out. So love to see you guys there.
So next week, I know LaDonna will be here. Bayou Bell, she has been in the chat with us next week. I will have a video out on both channels tomorrow, Cat's Treasure Hunting and this one. Tomorrow here is what sold. And then Friday, I made this video and it was super fun. I did a research on mid-century modern jewelry. So I did a mid-century modern research video before, but not just on jewelry. This time I did just jewelry, and that'll be out Friday. And yeah, and I'll have the member schedule out for you guys Friday. Paul, Faith, baby Felix, thank you for being here. Elena, Rod, thank you for coming back. All of you in the chat, we appreciate you. We are here every Tuesday at 8 Eastern, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.